And I have to apologize to my partner here because we're on the way to pick you up. We were having a conversation, and
Who's going to apologize?
I was talking about how Nikita Koloff, the heel, was one of the most incredible heels ever, and I felt that the face turn, even though it was necessary because the Cold War, was not beneficial to the character.
It was awesome.
He, on the other hand, said no. He was never hotter than when he was a face. Would you feel that the Pharaoh is correct?
Well,
I guess, dude. They loved you.
Initially, people did love to hate me.
That's true.
I mean, I had six different matches where fans jumped the barricade and came after me. Attempted to get in the ring after me. A couple of them succeeded. Ivan and I had death threats, at the Jim Crockett office.
Were you the fellow who got clocked with a spark plug in Puerto Rico or something like that, or was that somebody else?
That's me.
You? That's you.
Yeah.
Spark plug in Puerto Rico. Yeah, great.
It's crazy. I just told that story. Luger and I just finished a man camp. We had a guy from Puerto Rico, and I just told that story of being hit in the arm with a spark plug. Cut my arm open. That's how much they love me in Puerto Rico. And so I will say this. I am thankful that I got to experience both sides.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing is, I'll inject this part of the story. If Magnum TA hadn't had his accident, I get asked, would you have turned babyface? I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say for certain, 100%. But my guess would be probably not,
right?
Because Magnum was being groomed to be the next Ric Flair. He and I already had incredible chemistry, especially from the best of 7 with the U.S. belt.
Mm-hmm.
And so most likely him and I would have had several years run back and forth as world champions because we just had that chemistry. So the fact that I end up deciding, or they gave me the choice of teaming with Dusty, I only saw that one as a positive thing to be with somebody as popular as he was, and the fact that he had, creative control of things. And now, did we know? Someone asked him prior to his passing, did he know that was he confident? Did he know that angle that story would get over so well? And truthfully, he said no. None of us really had any idea.
Couldn't imagine.
A Russian becoming a good guy, right?
Right.
And so
you tried it though.
And we were pleasantly surprised that
ballsy
that the fans. Well, and kind of to that point of, it was the time. If you're going to turn, the time turns when you're the hottest heel. That's the time to turn, right? And so I think I can think back in the Charlotte Coliseum that night to the fans, the same fans who 30 days before, 1 month before, hated my guts.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm looking around this arena, and they got their shirts off. They're doing the pose. They're sticking their tongues out there. I'm like, okay, I think this might work.
Well, thank God they didn't make him. Thank God they didn't make you a 4 horseman. That would have been terrible.
No, I wouldn't have. That wouldn't have fit the narrative.
So here's something I heard on Jim Cornette's podcast. He's talking about when you first started off, right? You're hitting the gas. You're super huge, right? You never broke kayfabe with the boys, and you didn't cash a check from the organization for 1 year.
So what's the question?
What?
Were you really that? Were you really that into it, man? You're that into it, huh?
Like, supposedly, like Arn Anderson would be like, "You with the boys," and you were like, and that your mother, I guess, worked at the bank.
What?
Yeah, and
I don't know about this.
No, she didn't work at the bank.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So what's the story?
He's smiling. I wonder where this goes.
The numbers are all over the map as far as the length of time without cashing a check.
Okay.
What the CPA for Jim Crockett came to me. I wasn't even
the car parking attendant was still looking for our cars.
Huh?
Oh, the CPA. Oh, the certified. I thought you said car parking attendant. Never mind. I thought we were still looking for our car.
So my mindset was business. Like when I broke in, it was about business for me. I from day one, I'm a business guy.
Right.
So my approach was business mindset. Hence, I hired a business manager. I think one of the very first guys to ever do that.
Okay.
And one of my best friends, Tim Peltier. So I hired Tim, and I said, "Hey Tim," I said, "Man, everything's coming to you. My checks. Well, I'll give you a little backstory, but my checks." You're going to pay my rent. You're going to pay my electric, my phone. You're going to pay my gas. Any bills I got, they're all coming to you. You're going to take care of everything. I'm going to focus on wrestling and building the story and building my character and all of that. And so started studying the Russian language a little bit to put a few phrases together. Learned to sign my name in Russian. And I thought, if I'm going to get this character over, I'm not going to talk to anybody in the dressing room, outside the dressing room, unless I absolutely have to talk to somebody. In fact, it was Mark Merrill told me a story just a while back when he first came into the NWA territory. The Johnny B. Bad, he was wrestling with us. He goes, "Dude," he's like, "I got to tell you," he goes, "I've never told you this, but when we first came in," he goes, "first of all, half of us were scared to death of you. We're like, that guy could like rip your head off." He goes, "And then you're talking in in character in the dressing rooms, and we're like looking at each other, whispering, going, does he know we're like smart to the business? Does he know what?"
I thought you were nuts.
In fact, I know you guys had Demolition on.
That's right. Crusher Khrushchev.
Crusher Khrushchev. But before he was Crusher, he was out in Louisiana with Nikolai Volkov.
Uh-huh.
And so when we brought him up to the Carolinas to become Crusher Khrushchev, he's like, "Dude, he goes, I should have known." He goes, we heard in Louisiana that they had to shoot Russian up in the Carolinas, and we're like, "Oh wow, that's amazing." And I come find out it's you, and I'm like, why didn't I know that? Why? Because I'm just that guy. If I'm going to do something, I'm all in. I'm 100% in, right? I'm not going to do anything half baked. So I'm focused on wrestling, and I think at the time they paid us weekly, I think. And so, I'd get my check, and there was really no urgency. I'm a what my sister would call a very frugal guy. And so, I would spend what I'd need to spend in order to eat and live and that sort of thing. And so I had money in my pocket, so I didn't see any need to cash a check, so I just throw it in my closet shelf. And then at one point, Dave was the guy's name, the CPA, came to me at one point, and I don't even know how long it was, but the bottom line was, he says, "Cash your checks." I go, "Dave, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Cash your checks. You're screwing up my accounting, all my bookkeeping and everything." I go, "How am I doing it?" He goes, "Because you haven't cashed your checks. Cash your checks." So, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I had a year's worth, 2 years worth, 6 months worth.
Wow. I don't need to cash this.
I don't know.
How you do that?
But